Every 10 years after the U.S. Census data has been processed, states reapportion or redivide their legislatures to reflect the changing populations in existing legislative districts to ensure that the representation in the State House is as evenly distributed as possible. This mirrors the same process that's undertaken at the federal level, where states can gain or lose seats in the U.S. Congress and existing congressional districts are altered. In Vermont, the process for reapportioning the election districts, where state representatives come from, is well underway. The Legislative Apportionment Board, the entity charged with processing the census and population data, issued its initial proposal for redrawing Vermont's election district map on October 15th and sent its proposal along to local boards of civil authority for review and feedback. Boards of civil authority are typically made up of local select board members, town clerks, and justices of the peace. They have until November 15th to respond to the Legislative Apportionment Board, or LAB, as it's sometimes referred to. We spoke with several local town clerks to get their reactions to the proposed changes in the legislative districts and the feedback they are sending to Montpelier. Currently, Manchester, Arlington, Sandgate, and a part of Sunderland are in one district, known as Bennington 4. It's a two-member district, and that is one of the features the LAB hopes to eliminate. The tentative plan proposes that all House districts be single-member districts. Currently, there are some 44 two-member districts in the House of Representatives in Vermont, with the rest being single-member districts. The majority of the 7-member Legislative Reapportionment Board feels strongly that single-member House districts are a fundamentally better unit of representative democracy, in large part because people living in two-member districts, in effect, have two representatives in the State House, instead of just one, as people in single-member districts do. Others argue that a two-member district makes it more difficult for incumbents to be challenged, since the cost of running an election is more expensive in a district that may include up to 8,000 people as opposed to one of roughly 4,000. The Apportionment Board's proposal would return Manchester to being a one-town, single-member district, as it was in the past until the 2010 reapportionment. Sunderland, Arlington, and Sandgate would be broken off from the current Bennington 4 district and into newer ones. Anita Sheldon, the town clerk of Manchester, gave us the update on what their Board of Civil Authority had decided.
Manchester BCA decided to go ahead and agree with the reapportionment that was sent down by the lab. Currently, while we have seen the benefit of having two reps in Manchester or in Ben 4, we also agree and support fair representation throughout Vermont's various towns. Our board did vote 9-2 to encourage and approve the current proposal sent down from the state. So we used to be a one-member district, and then we became a two-member district, so neither one is really uncharted territory. We did reach out to the various the various towns that were part of Ben, or currently part of Ben 4. Sunderland agreed that it would make more sense to be part of, towns that surround Sunderland. Arlington seemed to think that it was okay and it would make sense for Manchester to be a single town district, and we have not heard back from Sandgate at this moment. Chair Cynthia Kilburn came in this morning and she and I worked on sending everything to the state so they do have our information.
Meanwhile, the Legislative Apportionment Board moved Sunderland into a new district that would include Landgrove, Peru, Sunderland, Winhall, Jamaica, and Stratton. One of the goals of the Apportionment Board is to wind up with legislative districts with a population count as close as possible to 4,287 people. That number is achieved by dividing the state's total population of 643,050 by the 150 House seats to reach 4,287 people. But Sunderland's Board of Civil Authority replied with an alternative proposal, keeping Sunderland in a district with Arlington and Sandgate, which would yield a population count of around 3,900 people, close enough to pass muster with the Legislative Apportionment Board, Town Clerk Rose Keogh believes.
The BCA had decided that it would be better for Sunderland if Arlington, Sunderland, and Sandgate can once again become a district. We're within the range for the numbers that we have to have, and It just makes more sense geographically, and we have more in common with Sandgate and Arlington than we would Stratton or Peru or any of them. So we're strongly, it could come back with a different plan, This is just tentative, so they could decide, well, maybe we can't do that, but we can do this, and go from there. But I think what the BCA in Sunderland came up with just only makes sense.
Arlington's Board of Civil Authority met on Monday, November 8th, and their town clerk, Robin Wilcox, supported that idea, based on geography and other close historical links between the three towns involved, and the rest of Arlington's Board of Civil Authority agreed. Arlington and Sandgate had been proposed to form a district that included a part of Shaftesbury, but the board felt the connections between Arlington and Sunderland outweighed those with Shaftesbury.
So I think that's really great that they went ahead and did all that extra, put that extra work into it. So maybe between them wanting to be with us wanting them to be with them, and this, new mapping, I'm hoping that.
I mean, they have to take into account a mountain.
Infrastructure, schools.
Sure.
Our
No,
post
not the
office.
schools anymore.
Well, the high school, they still have high school choice.
Right,
Junior high, no, and elementary, no.
right,
But they do still have high school choice,
They
and
do.
some Sunderland kids come to our high school.
right.
We share a post office, we share a lot of things
I totally
with
agree.
them. And, we, like Nick said, we all know the members on in Sunderland. We know the clerk,
course.
we know, people, the road crew, they all work together with our road crew, the selectmen.
Meanwhile, up in the mountain towns, Londonderry would be moved to a new district with Ludlow and Andover, and out of its current district with Winhall, Jamaica, Stratton, and Weston. Londonderry's town clerk, Kelly Piala, who's also currently its state representative, said in an email that their board settled on a counterproposal that would include Landgrove, Londonderry, Peru, Weston, and Winhall as a district. They analyzed the district from the standpoints of geography, population, and existing social, political, and economic interactions. School district factors were also noted. Dorset's current district would lose Landgrove and Peru and pick up Weston under the LAB proposal, while keeping Danby and Mount Tabor. At this point, Dorset officials are okay with that and aren't planning to submit an alternative proposal, said their town clerk, Sandy Pinsino. The Legislative Apportionment Board has until November 29th to process all the feedback it will be getting from across the entire state. On November 29th, the board must file its final report and proposed House District Plan. From there, current legislators will get to weigh in, and political factors may have an influence there. There's still a long way to go. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.